Well done. It's a cute play on words, but it's also quite true. Community radio is unique, both for our programming and for our source of funding. We are funded by you, those who listen faithfully. So please give now at borderradioaz.org. And thanks.
What's up, Yuma? I'm Johnny Porter, and on today's program, we are joined first by Thomas Strausbaugh. I think that's kind of how you say his name. Anyway, he's from Honest Abe Coins. He's the one I did those treasure hunts with, if you remember those. We're going to talk to him, as well as Emily Marasso. I think I got that right as well. She's the one I was doing the Monday Night Football stuff with at Wheezy's. So stay with us for What's Up Yuma Radio, beginning right now on KOFA 94.7 FM.
And streaming online at borderradioaz.org and on the KOFA app. You can also view our show on the Border Radio Facebook page and the KAWC YouTube page. And don't forget that you can reach out to us by email at whatsupyumaradio@gmail.com.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by High Tanks Brewing Company, serving up scratch-made food, craft beers, and experiences at 2 desert locations in Welton. More at hightanks.com.
Chili from Philly. Nick Papa Giorgio from Yuma.
Johnny Show! What's up, Yuma?
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to another episode of What's Up Yuma Radio. I'm Johnny Porter.
And I'm Emily Marasso.
All right, bring the mic a little closer to you, Emily, if you could. There you go. All right. She's looking at me. She's giving me a look right now, guys. If you're listening on the radio, you can't see. But thank you, Emily, for helping me today. She's my co-host for today. You know her from Wheezy's Monday Night Football. We did that, I think it was like 18 games that we did. It was a lot, and it was a good time, and we're going to do it again hopefully this next season. But the Super Bowl is this Sunday, so we got a while before that happens.
While.
Yeah. All right, and our guest today is Thomas Strausbaugh?
Yep.
Or Tomas, as they like to refer to him over at Starbucks on campus. That's what his little Starbucks thing says, is Tomas. But no, you're with Honest Abe. Is it Coins or Coin? Or is it just
Coins?
Coins. Okay, cool. I did get it right. And we originally met here. You come to the Starbucks out here, and I think it was to maybe study or something. You kind of do something like that?
Yeah, so my first job is I'm the pastor at Faith Baptist Church.
Yep.
And I was preaching a junior high school chapel at a local Christian school here.
Oh,
and
okay.
So I came early and was doing some studying, and you were sitting there, and I'd seen your show, and I introduced myself and hit off a friendship. So
okay. So it was just kind of just happenstance that you were out here at this one, because you were like, is it a school you said, or something?
Yeah, it's a school down off Highway 95 in Araby, and so I just found the closest Starbucks and came over here.
Cool, because one thing I know about pastors, they love coffee, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're a coffee guy?
100%.
Okay, what's the best coffee?
Well, a little embarrassing. I'm the foo-foo coffee guy. You know,
it's all right.
Chocolate
Don't be
mocha.
embarrassed. Do you go over there and then you kind of like, when they read off your name, you're kind of put your head down. It's like, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I go
With all
strong
the-
black coffee, but then I slip them a Post-it note that says white chocolate mocha.
Yeah. With all the, I want sprinkles and anything else that you could put in it. But no, so yeah, pastor at a church. Where are you from originally?
So I was born in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
And lived in California most of my
I think that's where
childhood.
Snoop Dogg's from. You ever meet Snoop Dogg?
I've never met him.
No.
But yes.
Oh man. Well, that's
Yes.
unfortunate.
And then moved to Seattle for a while. So you mentioned the Super Bowl. Go Hawks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big time Seahawks fan. So
Cool.
it's gonna be hard to be in church on Sunday preaching. My mind's gonna be 100 places.
Game
So
down on the corner.
yeah, exactly. Tell the guys in the sound booth, put the score up.
Put the score up on there. Yeah, that's fun. That's hilarious. Yeah. So Long Beach. You said you were born there or grew up there?
I was born there, grew up more in the Anaheim area.
In the Anaheim area? Okay. So when you're younger, did you always want to be a preacher?
No, I didn't have any desire for really anything spiritual growing up, and got involved in a lot of stuff, drugs, alcohol, partying,
gotcha.
and all that. And when I was 18, my aunt and uncle, who lived in Palm Springs area, they invited me to move in with them. I had already dropped out of high school, so I went back to school after I moved in with them, got clean, and there I found their church and was saved. And
So you got clean. Was that, when talk to most people about it, it's the process of faith that helps them get clean,
Oh,
right?
absolutely,
So
yeah.
was it that? Was it like you were introduced to, as the words that I hear a lot, introduced to Christ, and then you change your life after that? Or was it you need to get clean and you were just on your way to get clean and then you found faith?
well, I had known that something needed to change. I was having a lot of friends getting in trouble. I was, seeing a lot of hard stuff. And so I knew something needed to change. I just didn't know what. And so started going to church and hearing the message of the gospel.
While you're still doing drugs? Or
I was trying to get
off. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And so I was going
Right
to
on.
church and hearing the gospel. And one day I went and talked to the pastor of that church, and I just said, I need some help. I'm struggling with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And so we went to his office on a Thursday and in September of 2005, and just kind of shared my life story with him, all the struggles I had with addiction. And he just said, hey, I believe the answer to this is Christ. And so I, right there in his office, he showed me several verses that God loves me, that he died for me, that he wants to give me eternal life and have a relationship with me, and all these things that I had heard but never really took to heart.
Gotcha.
And on that day, I made the decision to trust Jesus as my Savior.
Yeah.
And so I got saved that day in September 2005, baptized soon after that. And it was almost immediately that I just had a desire to serve him and a desire to honor him with my life.
So you felt grateful on the other side of it, because you said, like, you went to him and it's like, I'm dealing with certain addictions, some things I can't control. And he said, well, you took the time with you, opened up the Bible, showed you the verses. And then once you start to, get that way and you come over the addictions and the other side of that, then you feel grateful. So that's 100%. Where the service came from?
Yeah, so I was able to get clean through my relationship with Christ. I felt like, I was making a lot of selfish decisions in my addiction, and now I wanted to make decisions that would honor him. And so that's what helped me get clean. And pretty much right away, I had a desire to serve him in some capacity. Had no idea it would lead to me being a pastor, or I spent a lot of time working with youth, and this is my second church that I'm now pastoring. And so just so grateful. Like, I want to live my entire life serving him and honoring him. And so that same passion from the moment I got saved of just wanting to make decisions that please him, I want to follow him now, 20 years later. So
yeah, like you said, 20 years later. So like, I understand grateful, like you get grateful for a time and that kind of dissipates, and then you kind of, but this has been a lifelong commitment of yours because you feel that grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he saved me for eternity. And so, yeah, I could get real excited and then wash out after a couple years, but I'm on my way to heaven, man. Like, I'm going to live in eternity with him and in his glory. And so I am just grateful for the rest of my life that I want to please him with every moment. And of course we fail. We still sin. We still have issues, but I want to live my life for him. I want him to be pleased. And at the end of my life, there's only one thing I want to hear. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. So then when was the point where you said you're doing the stuff for the youth? When did you become a preacher? Or like, how did that, did you go to seminary?
So I went to Bible college, and I was there for...
Is it called seminary or Bible college?
Well, there is seminaries. There are seminaries and higher learning for religious teachings and things. My school was not called a seminary, it's a Bible college. So I got a 4-year degree in pastoral studies and majoring in the Bible. And so that was in Lancaster, California. Studied there for 4 years.
So you did that, and then what does the process work? Like, you get the certification, that degree or whatever, and then you have to find a church? Or?
Sure. Well, I don't personally believe anybody needs like a license to be able to serve God. But how it worked for me was I graduated Bible college, and there was a church here in Yuma that needed a youth pastor, and so I came. And I was the youth pastor here at the same church I'm at now for 7.5 years. And in 2016, or for 6.5 years, in 2016, really felt the Lord wanted me to be a lead pastor. And so through just the process of praying and asking God to open doors, we heard of a church in Adelanto, California, which is near Victorville. And they needed a pastor, just a small church of about 10 people. And I went and visited, fell in love with those folks, and went and served there as their pastor for 7.5 years.
So Yuma, so that's where the Yuma first connection came from. So how does that work? Is like they're in an Indeed for pastors that kind of like
I
a
was gonna
list?
ask the same thing. Is there like a Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah,
for
like
pastors?
for-
Like, how does that
how-
work?
there
Probably
exactly.
is. There
Craigslist?
probably is. So I'm thankful that all of my career opportunities, if you will,
Yeah.
through pastoring, have all been through people I know and
Oh,
relationships
gotcha.
that I've already developed. So I haven't had to really go search and look. I just really wait for that open door.
So where were you at when you heard Yuma? There's an opening. Where were you living?
in when I came back the second time,
No, first time. First
so
time,
I
like
was in
before, like
college.
yeah. Where's that at?
Lancaster, California.
Lancaster, and then you hear about there's an opening in Yuma. What did you think right then?
So the story is really fun, but we had the president of the Bible college, or the vice president, his son was the pastor at Faith Baptist Church for a long time. And so he said, hey, you still haven't found a place to go and serve after you graduate. My son in Yuma has a church, are you interested in going and being an intern? I said, no, not really. I was getting married. I don't really want to intern. I need a job.
I need money.
But, it all worked out. Lord worked it out to where we came. We served here for 6 years. It was great. And then just felt really the leading to go to California and serve there for a while.
So what'd you think about Yuma when you first got here?
Yeah, the heat is something else when you first get here.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know as people that live in Yuma now, but like when you first get here, it takes your breath away. You walk outside and you're just like, I can't breathe. But we fell in love with the town. It's a great town. Like, we love Yuma.
Yeah. So what was it that you fell in love with? Was it community? Like how was it? Because the heat is a lot to bear with and to look past. You have to have something else on the other side of that heat to go through those months of torture. And I don't know if you know who Henry Rollins is, but I absolutely love him from Black Flag. But he came down and he was here in the summer and he wrote a whole thing about it. How people in Yuma have to be some of the toughest people to go through this extreme heat. He wouldn't live here, but what was it that said, okay, I like this place despite the torturous heat?
So initially it was the church. We were coming for that reason, to work with the teenagers and the youth of our church. And so we fell in love with that first. But then 3 of our children were born here. We've built our life here. Our first home we owned was here. And so it just became home for us. They're not really one thing, but we do love the community. We love, a lot of the small businesses and we've built relationships with people over the years, and just this is home for us.
So, okay, home. And then when I met you and when we were talking, you mentioned that you're a preacher. And then you also mentioned something about coins, and it kind of worked out really well because I was literally, we'll say it's God, fate, whatever. I was literally coming up with this idea of these treasure hunts, doing these things in the community. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. He just mentioned coins. That would be so cool to actually go out and hide coins, something different. Because people are doing treasure hunts. That's like a big thing all over the country right now. They're giving away thousands of dollars in like San Diego, the bigger ones. And but it's always cash or something, or a gift card or something like that. And I'm just thinking like, wow, that would be really cool to do this. And I mentioned it to you, and you were game, and you told me a little bit about your shop, Honest Abe Coins. So how did that get started?
So when we were in California at the church that I was pastoring there, the church wasn't really able to support us with like a full salary. So I just, I'm kind of stubborn, and I'm like, we're going to make this work. And so we started actually buying abandoned storage units.
Oh, like the TV show.
Yes.
Is that where you got it from?
Storage Wars.
Storage Wars or something? Like
yeah, well, we just started buying them.
What did you, I'm saying, where did you get that concept from? Like, you're just like, woke up one day, I'm going to buy a storage, or like,
I had another pastor friend who was in a similar situation.
Okay.
And we were like, we got to hustle, man. We got to make some extra cash here for our families. And so we were buying pallets at auctions, and then we're like, hey, let's buy an abandoned storage unit and see what we can find and sell, in Facebook Marketplace, and try to just turn a profit. And, so we started doing that. We bought like 30 units.
Wow.
Yeah, we ended up like doing this, and every unit we did, we made money on it.
Every single unit?
Every single unit.
So, okay, what is like a typical price for an abandoned unit then?
We would pay anywhere from $60 to $900 for a unit.
So 60. You could get one for 60.
Yeah, because they're perhaps would just be a couple totes in the back of a storage unit, and nobody's willing to really take the risk on it.
Take the risk.
We buy it. And
so, okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Now, do you get to see inside before you don't? So it's
you
like
get
the
to
storage.
see the pictures.
You can see the pictures.
We always bought them online. We never even saw them in person. So we would look online, and we would see there's an auction coming up for storage unit, and then we would purchase, bid on it. And we bought a bunch of them.
So do you have any memories, or do you remember like a time where a $60 one turned into a good amount? Was it?
So I think our best one was we paid $135 for it.
Okay.
And it just looked like a lot of junk.
This looked like junk.
It looked like junk.
Yeah, okay.
And so, but we're like, hey, $130. We haven't lost on them yet. We got some profit. Let's buy it. So we buy it, and then we pull off the first layer of trash.
Of junk.
Yeah.
of
And then
junk.
we're now getting into some boxes, and we open them up, and all these vintage gaming systems and
Oh, shut up.
yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like boxes full of like pristine Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And so that unit, and like there was a whole box just full of Zelda memorabilia that did really
Zelda.
I
Yeah.
love Zelda.
and so that was like, we were like shaking that day. You know what I mean? Like it was like, how did we come across
Nerd
this?
score.
Because it came, that $135 became like thousands of dollars over
Thousands.
a couple months, Yeah, because there was so much cool stuff in there.
So much cool stuff. And so you're shaking and you're seeing all this Zelda stuff. But then after that, you got to kind of go to work and kind of put them at certain like eBay, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we had we lived at the church parsonage, but we had a large garage, and so we basically turned it into, we lined it with shelves and turned it into our storage. And yeah, we did eBay for a long time, and then started doing Whatnot, which is like a live auction site where we can put an item up and people would bid on it and pay for it. And we just started doing really well at it. The coins thing, so getting to your question about the coins.
What we're going to do, we're going to take a break real
Okay,
quick,
sure.
and then we're going to figure out how that ties into
Okay,
the coins.
perfect,
We're going to do that after a quick break. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
The territorial chapter of the American Business Women's Association hosts its annual Women's Expo from 8 to 2 on Saturday, March 28th at the Yuma Civic Center. The event brings women together to explore local businesses, enjoy interactive activities, and treat themselves to something new. Details at abwaYumaAZ.org.
You're tuned to 94.7 FM, KOFA Border Radio. I'm Juan Garcia from the KWC Newsroom. The weather forecast for Yuma today is sunny with a high near 80. Mostly clear tonight with a low around 52. Saying there have been abuses of power, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs on Wednesday launched a website designed to tell Arizonans their rights when they're stopped by agents of Immigration and Customs Enforcement or when officers approach their homes. For more information, visit kawc.org/news. Stay tuned to 94.7 FM.
Bringing the heat to Yuma and La Paz, it's the hot spot.
But I feel like this has gone further than politics. This is killing people. This is murdering.
And they ran my background and everything. They checked my paperwork and everything was good. But the thing I didn't like is that they'd hailed me at gunpoint while my kids were in the car.
The show is available as a podcast or online at kawc.org under the shows tab.
It's the hot spot.
The Southwest Ag Summit takes place February 17th through the 19th at Arizona Western College. The summit brings together growers and industry leaders from across the desert Southwest for presentations on irrigation, produce safety, and emerging agricultural technologies. More at yumafreshveg.com.
Run by music lovers like yourselves, KOFA Border Radio has what you need. A non-commercial home filled with music heard from all over the world. Tune in at 94.7 FM, 1320 AM on the KOFA app or at borderradioaz.org.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up Yuma Radio. We are here talking to Thomas from Honest Abe Coins. And before we get into the coins real quick, I just want to say, so what happened? Why did you stop doing the storages? Is that tied to what, like you found a good coin and then you were like, this is it?
No, so we were doing the storage units, doing eBay. Everything was going really well. And I had a friend that was my business partner at the time. And he said, hey, I got my grandpa's old coins. And I want to try to sell them because I don't need them. And so we got on our whatnot and we sold his coins. And I was looking at these coins as we're packing them up and we're getting ready to ship them out to our customers. And I'm like, man, these are really cool. You know, this is several years ago. And so I started, asking him questions about these coins, and I came across some different coins that I thought were very interesting. And
they just looked interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I started studying them out a little bit, and I kind of, got my hyper focus on that for a little while. And I started learning the history of coins and the rarity of some of these things. And so it just sparked an interest and a passion for me that didn't even know that I would have had. And so we were still doing all of that, but then I moved here to Yuma to come back and be the pastor at Faith Baptist Church. And so we closed the business down in California.
Gotcha.
Came out here. Now, in the meantime, I was still doing the coin thing, flipping coins online with whatnot and learning more and more about it. And getting here to Yuma, I thought, man, I would love to own my own spot, to where I could.
Versus just doing it online at your house. Okay.
Yeah. And so the coin thing just happened kind of organically for me. Like, we didn't find any cool coins in a storage unit or, anything like that. It was something I just came across as my friend was selling these coins. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And so it became a passion to learn about them.
So in your early days when you're doing this with the coins, what were you making? Like how you could flip a coin that it's like, that looks like a nickel. And it's like, oh, it looks like a nickel, but
Right. So at first I was very green at all the coin world. Didn't really understand that there were certain types of coins because of their year they were minted, how many of them were minted, low mintages, high mintages, the location they were minted at. I didn't know any of those things. So I was going to the 5 local shops I could drive to within 2 hours, and I was asking questions to the owners, and I was buying stuff out of their bargain bin, and I was looking at all their really nice stuff thinking, oh, there's no way I can make a profit on that, so I'm going to pass. And I would just buy all the cheapest stuff I could, and then I would go sell it online. And so did that for just about a year, and then I started getting into silver dollars, and old silver dollars that were minted back in 1878 all the way to 1921, and we call them Morgan dollars. And so I started getting into those and realizing, wow, there's some of these that are very valuable, and in the right condition they can go for thousands of dollars. And so I started hunting for them, and I would go to the coin shops and I'd go through their bins and look through whatever they had, and I'd buy them as many as I could and sell the ones that I didn't want to keep and keep the ones I wanted. And so I just started developing almost like a collector hobby, but I'm not a collector, so I will buy something, hold on to it for a little while, and I'll give it to somebody who wants it more than me. And so that's how the business started working, and we started becoming pretty profitable with it, and we're grateful for the opportunities that we've had to continue doing it.
So I have a question. So you go to this place, you said they're coin places. How do they miss that? Or is it just because maybe it's just an antique type place and they just happen to have coins? Because I'm thinking if they're a coin place, they should know how valuable these things are. Yeah. But you're going into what they're just trying to get rid of, and you find some jewels inside of that.
That's how it started.
Okay.
But then once I started realizing the actual value of these things, I started investing more.
But I'm saying, why would they have something valuable inside of their get rid of bin?
Man, most coin shops are very busy.
They're busy. Okay.
Yeah. So I've actually found an ounce of silver, in a dollar tray.
In a dollar, you get an ounce of silver in a dollar tray right there. You're like, wow,
That's
okay, here we go.
Yeah, and I thought I'd never let that happen to me. But you know what happened 2 weeks ago? These teenage kids came into my shop, and I have a dollar tray, and they picked out 5 things. And my mom, who works at the shop with me, she goes, Thomas, you should test this and weigh this before you sell it to these guys. And it ended up being over 2 ounces of silver, and I said, Mom, it was in the dollar tray. We got to give it.
You got to do it because you're Honest Abe. Honest, yeah.
And so anyway, what ended up happening with these kids? They're like 17, and they go to one of the local high schools. They come into the shop all the time, looking through our bargain bins, And so they found these, and I said, here's the deal. I'll sell it to you for $1. And they said, well, we want to go to a pawn shop and see if they'll give us like $200 for it. And I said, you try.
Yeah.
And so they did. They went to all the pawn shops or anywhere that'll buy gold and silver, and nobody would give them anything for it. So I said, all right, here, listen, give it back to me. I will sell it, and then I'll split it with you.
Oh, okay.
And so they brought it back in, and the next week they came in, gave them each $50, and
wow,
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. So you're doing that. Yeah, you're going through the bargain stuff. You get lucky like these kids do. And then you start to, like you said, invest into it. What does that look like?
So what it looks like for us now, and now that I've gotten several more years of experience and I know what I'm looking at, people will bring in their grandfather's coin collection that's been sitting in their closet, or their husband just passed away and they need some money, or whatever it is. And it's kind of interesting how the pastoring kind of transitions over into the coin shop owner stuff, because I'm able to see these people in like hard times of their life, like they're actually, I need a couple $1,000s to pay for, this burial or this thing. And so we've had several times where we're praying with a customer over the counter instead of dealing with coins, because it is that some of this stuff is very hard for people, and they're in a hard spot, and so they have something valuable that they want to sell, and they're afraid to go to a big box place, or they're afraid to send it to somebody online that they don't know. So we're able to build connections with people. And so they bring their collection in, and then I'll just sort out their collection. I'll look for any of those rare dates or those low mintage coins, something that might be worth serious money. And then after I sort it all out, I give them an offer of what I could give them. And that way it allows my business to stay open. We make a little bit of a profit, but they also are getting their needs taken care of and able to, pay for whatever they needed the money for. And it's been really rewarding in that way. One of the other things that we've been doing a lot is we've been just playing the middleman on some large transactions. And I'll tell you about that really rare coin that you were asking about.
Absolutely.
So a local nonprofit came to me and asked, if I could appraise a collection of gold. And it was like 30-something ounces worth of gold.
Wow.
And it ended up being, at the time, like $130,000 worth of gold. And I don't have that kind of money to buy that from them, but I have connections to be able to broker a deal for them and then just take like a commission off of the sale. And that was fun because it was for a local nonprofit. It was something that was going to go to a good cause, and I really felt great about that, and I was thankful to have a good reputation to be able to do that. The really cool rare coin we were talking about right before we went live, there was a collection I was appraising, and I was going through every coin, and there was a stack of coins that I just needed help with. Like, I'm not too proud to I don't know everything.
You don't know everything.
There's some things I just don't know about. And so I said, hey, I think you have about $35,000 worth of coins here, but there's like...
That's crazy just even to hear. That's just so crazy
Yeah,
to
and
hear,
it was like in a tote, like one of those totes.
Wow.
And so I said, I think you have about $35,000 worth of coins here, but there's like this handful of coins that I need to get looked at. Like I need to take with me to have someone who's been doing this a lot longer than me. They know what they're looking for. And so I did. I took those coins over there and sat with one of my friends that is a coin expert, and he said, Thomas, there's a life-changing coin here. And I said, what do you mean? And he pulled out this Morgan silver dollar, and he says, this is the lowest mintage of any Morgan silver dollar in history.
Wow.
They only made 100,000 of them, and most of them were either melted down for their silver content, or they are so heavily circulated that their value has decreased. He says, this thing is nearly uncirculated.
Wow.
And it's one of the rarest coins that's ever been minted.
Jeez.
And so I was like, well, when you say life-changing, what do you mean? He goes, well, just this one coin. He goes, I can pay $100,000 for it today.
Wow.
God.
And I went to the person who I didn't own the coin. I was appraising it for somebody else.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't take no for an answer. I got on the phone. I was like, hey, are you willing to sell? And long story short, it was like a 4-week process of actually helping this person sell their coins to someone else. And I was able to broker that deal, and it worked out really, really well. It ended up being almost $200,000 worth of coins. So.
Wow.
Jeez. Yeah. And then you get a percentage of that? Is that how it works?
I mean, I got a finder's fee for it, and it was worth it for me.
Yeah, because you're doing work. You said about 4 weeks. That takes work to be able to do that, and you got to get paid for it. So then you said a finder's fee based upon a percentage, or how did it work?
Yeah, so the person who bought it, he knew that you know, he already had a profit locked in when he was buying it, so he gave me a portion of that.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so you talk about the rarity of the coin, right? Low mint, high mint, stuff like that. What are some other things that make a coin valuable? Because I think misprints or something like that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of errors out
okay.
there. So you go on Google and you type in like a double die error, you're probably going to find a 1955 penny that looks like the 1955 date is doubled, and it is.
Okay.
Because when the die strikes the coin, it'll double stamp, and maybe either the coin or the die will rotate just a tiny bit, and it'll give it a reflection, you know, or a doubling. And that's one error that a lot of people look for on their coins. And also, you know, sometimes the coin will slip out of the, you know, in the dies, and it'll only stamp a portion of the coin. And so you'll have this blank planchet that just has a portion of the coin on it. And people love those. They're really fun errors to find. And there's a million errors out there. People are hunting for them all the time.
And then when you mentioned before we went on air, you said something about a nickel, a buffalo nickel, and you know, we could count. You said they have 4 legs, but this one, it's missing a leg.
It's a tripod.
Yeah. So in 1937, one of the last years they made the buffalo nickel. The ones that were minted in Denver, the die started wearing down. So on one of the front legs of the bison, or the buffalo that's on the back of the nickel, the leg on the far side of the buffalo is completely worn to where it looks like it's just standing on 3 legs. And it's a really cool error.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
It's not a bison, it's a trison.
There we go.
Yeah, so that's really cool to find, and we found that, you know, someone brought a collection and we bought a bunch of nickels and we ended up finding that one. That was really cool.
So then what are other things that make them valuable besides those? Is there other things that kind of go into this?
So they're mint mark. You know,
mint mark. What is that?
So there's different mints. So San Francisco has a mint. Philadelphia has a mint.
Oh, like a manufacturer.
Yes.
Okay.
The New Orleans has a mint. West Point has a mint.
And like one is better than the other? Like
so
what is that?
The one that's people really go wild for is the Carson City.
Carson City.
So Carson City, Nevada had a mint, and they minted a lot of coins back in the late 1800s. And yeah, that's a very popular mint. People are looking just for that mint mark. Because Carson City, it'll have a CC on a portion of the coin will have a CC on there, and people just go nuts for them. They love them. Even if that coin wasn't rare, there was very few coins minted at Carson City, so people love to collect those coins.
So since you've been here to Yuma, you've only been open for how long?
It's really a couple months.
Just a couple of months. How's it been so far?
Good. Yeah, it takes time to build relationships with people and trust. We had one guy that wanted to sell, you know, several hundred ounces worth of silver, but he's like, well, how do I trust you that the money's actually going to come in? And I said, hey, you know, that's going to have to be on you to trust me.
Trust,
you know?
yeah.
And I can't make you trust me. So we ended up doing the deal and then doing the deal again. And, you know, now we are on a first name basis, have each other's phone numbers. So it's all about relationships. And the longer our shop is open and we're able to maybe hire some people, then we'll be able to do more and more.
So anything cool here in Yuma that you're able to kind of look like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, you got some really good stuff here.
So Arizona has a ton of gold and silver history.
Okay.
You know, there's gold rushes here in Arizona and a lot of silver mines and different things. One piece that we came across that's very special to Arizona is an ounce of silver that it was hand poured in the shape of a tombstone, and it says Tombstone, Arizona on it.
Okay.
And this is a very old, very rare piece, and so that came out of an estate sale that we were able to buy that coin, and it sits in our display. I don't know that I'll ever sell it. It's
that's one of the ones you're going to keep.
Collection,
Yeah, one of the ones. And how do you decide that what you're going to keep? Because that's like, that sounds like it has a cool factor along with it, right? Not just, you know, it could be so, you know, valuable, but it's also pretty cool. So how do you decide that?
Yeah, I said earlier that I'm not really a collector.
Yeah, because that's
so. I'm probably going to hang on to it for a year, and then when somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I need that,"
you need like somebody like I got like you know scratching like a crackhead. Like
and I just
need
feel
that
like,
one.
man, he needs to have that. Like he wants it more than me. You know, I'm okay with it. Pay me $900 for it or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it will be all right. I don't really get sentimental on that kind of stuff. So.
Oh, gotcha. Any of them? Do you have anything that's sentimental in your?
No.
No.
I'm not sentimental in that way.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you don't have
I think
to be.
everything is cool and I want to keep it all. But then I realized I don't really need that. And I'm glad I had it for a while and I can give it to somebody else. I think that helps me in my business because, you know, I think if I was a collector, all the most valuable things would just stay with me and I would go out of business.
Could you imagine what your house looked like? That would be like an episode of Hoarders.
You should have my wife on just to ask about how our house looked before we got the shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was just crazy. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. So then I think there was one we were talking about when I went in. You like, I think I have some stuff here. And you said, since I've been in, there's been a few of those. But what I'm getting at is that when you send it off, it takes a while. You're saying like months for these other
that three-legged
places.
buffalo nickel, we sent that to be graded. There's different grading companies like PCGS or NGC. We sent them out to be graded. Well, really, it's not so much the grade as it is the certification.
We
want these professional companies to certify that the coin is real, that it's not been tampered with, that somebody didn't, just wear that leg out, and make it look like it was real. We want to make sure it's certified and genuine. That way we're confident when we sell it to somebody else that we're giving them the real deal. And so that process does take time. You have to, get your pile of coins together, and you might be waiting a month or two of just collecting things so you can send a bundle all at once. And then once they get it, it's a couple months process to get it back. So some of the coins I showed you might be back in the next 2 months.
Wow. Do you you get anxious waiting to hear, or just like, yeah, it is what it is?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
I used to get really anxious, like, I got to have it tomorrow, check on the status. But now that we're just doing it all the time,
it's just a process.
It'll be soon. It'll be where just like every week there's another, group of coins.
As soon as one goes out, one comes in.
Yeah. So it's good.
So pennies are they're not going to be made anymore at a certain date, or they stopped?
They stopped in 2025.
They stopped. Okay. So should I be saving a bunch of pennies right now, or?
So I'm not big on the penny train,
No.
People freak out, and we get a lot of questions in the shop like, hey, what do you think about the pennies? And I said, I don't really think much about them. There are trillions of pennies in circulation in the United States. And I think it's funny, even here at the college, it says penny shortage or whatever. There is zero shortage of pennies. There is plenty of pennies. I think right now the shortage is that people are, they're
hoarding them
thinking
themselves.
That they're going to be worth something, and they're not.
Yeah, they're not. No.
I don't think so.
No, okay.
No, we're stamping designs on them at Disneyland, squashing them.
Oh, yeah, like that one. Yeah, you put a penny in the thing, and they say, yeah, I forgot about that.
So what will make the penny valuable is if the government starts hoarding them. And if the government starts telling banks any deposits of pennies go right back to the United States government. And then what will end up happening is there will be an actual shortage, and then they may be more valuable then. But I think everybody kind of got on the gun early. They're going to stop making pennies. I got to keep them. Their pennies aren't going anywhere.
Okay. And then, so the penny, out of circulation, whatever that word is, and we're done with those. In history, how many times has that happened? What are the other ones? Like a $2 bill? I know that's rare. Was there like a 3 cent, a $3 bill? It was like,
Yeah. So our nation has minted all types of denominations. We had half cents.
We had a half cent.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the ones I showed you. I have an 1825 half cent that's in very good condition that's being graded at the moment. And then we had 1 cent. We had 2 cent pieces.
We do.
In the 1860s, had 2 cent pieces. In the 1870s, we had 3 cent pieces. Then we had half dimes, so they were 5 cents. They didn't call them nickels. They were half cents, so they're worth 5 cents, and they were made out of silver. And so then they developed the nickel, and that was in the 1860s, the shield nickel. And then we have dimes and all types of dimes. And then there was even a 20 cent piece. We had one of those until the other day when somebody bought it out of our shop.
Oh, was it pretty valuable? Or?
Yeah, I think I charged $125 for that.
Okay.
Just a 20 cent piece.
Yeah.
But it was an old one, 1800s. And then, of course, the quarters and half dollars. Half dollars are very popular. Lots of silver half dollars are made for our nation. And for me, the fun part, reason I kind of got into it was the history of it. So in 1963, we switched from the Benjamin Franklin half dollar, and in 1964, it became the Kennedy half dollar with John F. Kennedy, and that's what we're using up until 2025. And And the reason why it's interesting is why did it change? You know,
why did it change?
Well, because Kennedy was assassinated in '63, and so they made a coin commemorating him in '64.
Okay, so okay.
So and that marks a spot in history for our nation. And the same thing, you know, happened in 1965. Now none of the coins have silver in them. They lowered the silver amount from 90% to 40% in 1965 for half dollars and dollars. And then our quarters were just made out of copper nickel. And so why did that change? Well, the value of silver was now worth more than what the coin was, so the U.S. Mint didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
gotcha. And so because they're going to lose money on everything that they're doing. And so there's a lot of history and reasons for everything. You know, why is this guy on our quarter or on our penny? Who is he? You know, then you start learning about Abraham Lincoln, and you know, it does preserve our nation's history in a way.
Yeah.
And so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. So the coins, a half dime, is that worth a good amount?
Yeah, it'd be worth more than a dime because they were more rare.
Yeah.
You know, they're rare. It's all about rarity.
I've never heard of that. That's kind of interesting that we had a half dime, but that would make sense because you said a nickel is made out of something different, and so this one is a dime. Dime is supposed to be silver.
Yes. Yeah.
So then the half dime was made out of silver. So, okay, that's how it works. So silver, the content's gone down, but, you know, silver was going up for a little while, right? It went up.
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about that?
So so silver actually got to $122.
$122.
An ounce?
Yeah. And so when we were doing our the giveaways,
the treasure hunts,
hunt, it was going up every time.
Every
so
time,
it started off like, here, this is worth $60, and the next time this is worth $80, and then it just kept on going, parabolic, all the way to $122 an ounce. And you know, that was good business for us. You know, people were selling their stuff. We were then selling it for more, and it was just kind of great. But as soon as it got to that 120, right at the end of January, man, it dropped all the way back into the 60s.
Jeez.
And so, you know, that was a tough time. We're still actually kind of reeling a little bit from, we were buying silver for $110 an ounce.
So you started buying it.
We were.
Because
people come into the shop, they need somewhere to sell it to, so we were buying
You're
it from
buying it at that price thinking it's going to continue to go up? Is that, or just because you're a shop and that's what you do?
I feel like it's ethical for me as the shop to offer my service and not just shut down because everything else is going crazy.
Oh, you're not like me. I'd be like, scram. No, I'm just kidding.
But
get out of here.
But I understand a lot of shops that do shut down during these crazy volatile markets because, you know, you're going to lose money. And we certainly did over the course of January, early February, because, you know, just the way that silver has been going, people want to sell high and buy low. Well, as a shop, when you're buying high and sometimes selling low, and you have to be able to hedge your position a little bit in order to not go out of business. And we've thankfully done really well at that. But it is a crazy market right now. It's back down to 75, I think, this morning, an ounce. And so it's kind of nuts.
Do you know why it crashed? So
I have theories.
There's theories. Okay, they're just theories. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're theories. I mean, it's a conspiracy today, but it's reality.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, but give us, like, what do you think? Like, just a little.
I think the banks are in a lot of trouble.
The banks are in trouble.
I think that the big banks, that they hold positions in silver and gold, that they have paper contracts that they can't fulfill with physical silver and gold. And so when they get to, you know, this crazy price numbers that they weren't expecting, and they're not able to fulfill orders, they're not able to, you know, meet the physical need of their paper contract, they're in a lot of trouble. It would put a lot of big banks out of business. And so somebody up top with a lot of money has to bail the banks out, you know, and the big wigs, you know. And honestly, I don't know for sure exactly what's happening, but I do have a feeling that silver will continue to rise. I think at some point in the next 10 years, we'll probably see $200 silver.
But who says it crashes, though? Like, who's the one that says, all right, now it's only $60? Like, is there like some guy is some judge out there that kind of like gambles?
It's the market makers. It's like the big whales that have all the money that are controlling the, you know,
the Illuminati.
Yeah,
the Illuminati.
Who knows? Yeah. I think there's a lot in the background.
That's a different show.
Yeah, I think there's a lot in the background going on that we have no idea.
So we were in San Diego over Christmas, and my in-laws and I were at the mall, and she was at one of those little kiosks that sell the silver and gold necklaces and chains, and she wanted to get a new silver necklace. She asked, what is it today? And she goes, what do you mean today? And she goes, well, silver prices are changing. She goes, our prices never change. She went back to my father-in-law, told her how much she was going to get it for, went back over, and she had just hung up with the owner who had called her and said, hey, pull X, Y, and Z off and raise the prices on them because silver has gone up.
Oh, okay.
And so she was like, I wonder if she knew what she was talking about or if that was like a, oh, no, don't worry about it. But yeah, silver, I mean, within minutes of us going to a kiosk and coming back, they were changing prices.
Yeah. Well, what a lot of people are doing right now is they are, when silver goes crazy higher, then a lot of the stackers and investors and savvy people, they're running to all like the antique stores and all of the places like that that maybe aren't looking at the market and they're
following trends,
selling them out of this stuff and then going and selling it back to a refinery or somewhere that they can make a profit really quick. So,
we're going to have to take a break. But so I thought when we were doing these treasure hunts that the people were going to go right away and just return them to you and get their money worth. And none of them done it?
I don't think any of them have come back.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's been 6 winners and not one have gone back to say, and because everybody had your business card in there, everybody had everything, but they and I told them, I say, hey, look at this, how you look at it. It might be going up, but do what you want to do. I was trying to be honest with them, but they held on to it.
Good on them. They'll make some money over time. Keep it.
Yeah. So we're going to have to do some more in the future.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it. And tell everybody how to find you on Instagram, Facebook, and where you're located.
Yeah. So for the coin shop, Honest Abe Coins on Instagram. We're also on Facebook and Whatnot. You can do local pickup at our shop. So if you buy on Whatnot, Honest_Abe_Coins on Whatnot, then you can just come into the shop and meet us and shop around there and pick up your stuff you buy on our auctions. And then for the church, it's faithbaptistyuma.com, and we'd love to have the community come out and pay us a visit. So I appreciate you having me on. It's been great.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And with that, we are going to go to a break now. All right, Talon, we're going to do that, and we're going to talk to Emily. Emily's going to be in the hot seat after this. You're listening to What's Up Yuma Radio right here on 94.7 KOFA Border Radio.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by the 2 Welton locations of High Tanks Brewing Company, its craft brewery and tap room, featuring scratch-made food and handcrafted beers, including Daphne's Date Ale and the Gila Hazy IPA. Also, live music and experiences such as farm tours and glamping are available. More at hightanks.com.
This week on the Retro Cocktail Hour, we've got the sound your eyes can follow. Jungle Jazz by Henry Mancini and Les Baxter Goes Native. I'm Darrell Brogdon. Join me where the music's always shaken, not stirred. The Retro Cocktail Hour.
Saturday evening from 7 to 9 on Border Radio KOFA.
For KAWC News, I'm Cisco Stargazer, Education Solutions Reporter. The Crane School District has officially selected its next superintendent. Effective July 1st, 2026, Dale Ponder will be assuming the position. Currently, Ponder is Chief of Finances and Operations for the district. He'll be succeeding Superintendent Lori Doring, who will retire at the end of the school year.
I am incredibly humbled and honored that the governing board is showing this confidence in me and my ability to lead the district. Lori has done a fantastic job as the leader of our school district and has made a huge impact to the community, and I'm blessed and fortunate that she was able and willing to invest in me and mentor me to help me prepared for this. And so I just really appreciate the board's confidence and having me serve in that capacity.
Ponder told KAWC he most looks forward to building sustainability for the district so that it can grow and prosper. For KAWC News, I'm Cisco Stargazer.
Tuned in to Border Radio KOFA. We are your local public radio station that celebrates the power of music to bring people together. You can see our playlists, listen to our live stream, and listen to past programs on demand on the KOFA app. Find it at your favorite app store.
What's up, Yuma? Welcome back to What's Up, Yuma Radio. We are here still with Emily Marasso. Thank you for sticking around with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So people, if they follow What's Up Yuma for a while now, it started out on the Instagram, but they would know you from my co-host at Monday Night Football at Wheezy's.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that was... At that point, I'm kind of starting all this, and I think I put it on Facebook about some things and people that could help out with like social media stuff. And then you like rose your hand really quick, and we talked about it. And then like the social media stuff kind of took a back seat. But then when I needed a co-host, you also volunteered for that. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. It was something I did to step out of my comfort zone because we're new here in Yuma. We've only been here for a few years. So just trying to make friends, make connections, get my name out there, you know, all the things.
Which I think it worked, right?
Yeah, it worked.
Did it work?
It worked.
It worked. So let's get back to it worked, but you said you're not from Yuma. Where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from San Diego, California. Lived there most of my adult life. We moved here in October of 2021. My husband's a firefighter out in El Centro. So commute was about even distance between San Diego and here. So we were big river and desert rats. So we brought our kids out here, and we've been here ever since.
And that seems to be the thing with San Diego. Like us at Yuma, we like to go over there to the beach to get away. And I tripped out when I found out how many people from San Diego like to come over here and go to the desert or go maybe to Martinez Lake or something. And I'm like, you guys got the ocean over there and you want to go to this lake?
It's not the same. You can't take your boat out in the salt water on the ocean. It's going to trash your boat. So bringing it here, freshwater, it's a lot easier, more family friendly, not as packed as weird as that sounds, because there's a lot of tourists in San Diego. So definitely prefer freshwater over salt.
So then were you coming here when you were younger then? Was Yuma familiar or?
So I was actually introduced to the desert when I was in middle school. Back when like the cedar and the witch fires were happening in San Diego, I came out with some friends to the desert, was introduced that way. Had only been once or twice camping with my family, but when I was probably in my late teens, early 20s, I got my first dirt bike. And that's when I started going out with my friends and the boyfriend at the time, and just kind of grew from there. And then when I met my husband, he was also already in the desert scene. So
yeah, so he was already. Where'd you meet him?
We met through friends, old fashioned. Yeah, 15 years ago. So I didn't have to worry about dating websites. I didn't have to worry about Hinge and all that stuff. We met naturally through friends.
Yeah. And then how long has he been a firefighter?
He's been a firefighter for 14 years. 13 years. Yeah. When we met, he was getting out of the military. He was in the Army, so he was getting out of the military, and he was working construction. And then when we started dating, he found out that San Diego City was going to be hiring for firefighters, and his dad's a 25-year veteran. So he was like, okay, I got to go to EMT school. Mind you, I'm pregnant. I'm like 5 months pregnant. Wow, and he's like, I'm going to start a new career.
Yay!
And I was like, yay, I love you. Let's do this. So I was working full time doing marketing for a motorcycle auction at the time. And he went to EMT school and went through the academy, and it just wasn't quite what he wanted. So he bounced around to some different EMT companies in San Diego, and then landed with some fire departments, and it ended up in Wildland for a long time, and then got on with the feds.
Okay. And then so the feds, and then how do you end up in El Centro with the feds?
So he technically is on the Navy base as a firefighter.
Gotcha.
So he applied through military because he has.
I didn't know there was a Navy base in El Centro.
It's where the Blue Angels are housed.
Oh, okay.
So when they're not in Pensacola, they're in El Centro.
Where at? I'm trying to even think. Do you like it?
On the base.
Yeah, no, I know. Where's the base at? I can't even think.
So El Centro is like, what, 3 exits?
Yeah.
So just pick one.
Just pick one of them. It's like, you're going to end up there.
Yeah, you'll find it eventually.
You'll find it. And so then he got the job there. And so what was the decision to make Yuma the home? Because of the desert? Because of the, you could go out, you could take your motorcycle?
COVID happened.
Oh, okay.
So we were locked down. I mean, March 2020, the entire world stopped, for San Diego especially. Here, it was a little bit more lax.
Mm-hmm.
So we were coming out here a lot on the boat because we were in each other's boats. That's plenty of 6 feet distance,
Mm-hmm.
We were in our side-by-side, our dirt bikes. We didn't have to worry about people. We were outside. And Arizona had a little bit more lax.
Yeah, it was a lot more lax from
rules
California.
than
Yeah,
California
absolutely.
because our governor at the time, well, still is.
Yeah.
That governor was really hot and heavy on like the rules and regulations. So coming here, we just realized, why are we doing this? Like, we love it out here. We're out here all the time, summer, winter, fall. Why don't we just move? Cost of living. I was able to quit my 9-to-5 Monday through Friday job, become a stay-at-home mom here. Like, it just made more sense.
Mm-hmm. So then you moved to Yuma, and you said you quit your job, but then you start doing lashes.
So we were here for about a year and a half before I was like, I'm bored.
Okay, you're bored now. Okay, that's what it is. I'm bored.
My kids are getting older, so I started working at Sunshine Cafe over in the foothills off the frontage road. Did that for a little while, then started doing some marketing stuff because that's where my background is.
Yeah.
Majority of my working background is marketing and media. So did some marketing for a company for a little while, and then happened to find out that there's a lash school here in Yuma that is Arizona board certified. And I was looking for something that I could flex my creativity. I really love doing hair and makeup, but cosmetology school just wasn't an option for me. And so I said, you know what? I think I'm going to try this. Like, let's see if I can do this. It was pretty affordable. So I went through, shout out to Chic Lash and Beauty Lounge and Chic Lash Academy down in Yuma on Main Street. That's where I did my schooling. And it was incredible. It was like, how come I never did this before? Like, why did I wait so long to do this?
So you like it? You found your niche.
I found my thing.
So, okay, now I got to ask, and I was talking about it off air when you got in here. What is it with eyelashes and ladies? Like, what happened with eyelashes? Were there eyelashes that they have because you put them on? Is that what it is? Or
yes.
Okay. When did the typical eyelash not be? It's not good enough anymore. Was there like a de-evolution type thing?
Beauty standards.
It's just beauty standards.
We could get really deep into it, but I'll save that for another time. But yeah, just beauty standards. Tans and hair extensions. I mean, nails. Eyelash extensions, you name it. I mean, it's all about just making yourself feel better.
Because it's like there's the eyelash place, and then but there's separate an eyebrow place. Like there's two different. It's like you're over here for eyelashes, you're over here for your eyebrows.
Yep.
So you found eyelashes. So what do you do? Like, is it like you help glue it on? What is the process?
It's a very intricate process. Very steady hands, very good eyes. So basically, I'm applying a single fake lash to your natural lash.
Oh,
so you have sometimes 100 to 200 lashes.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there putting a lash on every single one of yours, whether it be a single or like a handmade fan of like 8 lashes.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty intricate. So you sit there, and then what did you find rewarding about it, or like about it? You kind of zen out and.
It's just a good way for me to kind of hyper focus on something. I have trash mental health. I've struggled with my mental health since I was a kid. So finding things that I find joy in, especially in the beauty industry, are what really make me happy. Also, the connections that I make with these women. Like, that's an hour that they're trusting me with their eyes closed. Like, that's a very, that's a place to be in that kind of makes you susceptible to anything because you have your eyes closed. You have to trust the person you're with. So I love the connections I make, the people I meet, the stories I hear, things I learn. It's just that 1 hour of just like girl time,
Yeah, you'd mentioned, I was talking about like, available days for you to come in and help me co-host. And you're talking about like, I just have my friend and then my friend and my friend. And they're like, all of them are my friends. Everybody that comes in become your friends.
Because I see these girls sometimes. I mean, I have 2-3 girls that come in every single week to see me because they like their lashes full, or they have a lot of fallout because their hair grows really quickly. Some of these girls I'm seeing every other week, twice a month, 3 times a month. So, I mean, it's like what you see on Instagram and TikToks and things like that. Like, I hear about, oh, I got engaged. Oh, we broke up. Oh, I'm pregnant. Like, oh my gosh, we had the baby. Like, my sister's wedding. Like, you hear all of the happy, all of the sad. And it's so cool to have people allow you into their lives like that, to like share those things with you when, a couple weeks ago you were complete strangers. And now these women are coming to me like, girl, let me tell you about what happened last week. Like, I got to update you. And I love those.
Yeah.
Like, yes, tell me all the tea I want to know.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be running out of time here right now. Let everybody know where to find you on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
You can find me on Instagram at Leaf and Lash AZ or EMJ Marasso.
All right. And hopefully, if you're not too busy, you can come in and stop in and, help me out. Help me out every once in a while. How'd it go? You do all right? You said it was the first time on radio. You've done podcasts.
First time on the radio. I think I did okay.
Okay, yeah, you did great. So you're good. You stick around with us. And with that, What's Up Yuma Radio is a production of KAWC, Colorado River Public Media. We broadcast from the studios in the Matador Activity Center at Arizona Western College in Yuma. We want to thank our engineer, Talon Gonzalez, along with Anthony Arnales, Juan Garcia, and Dave Reek. You can find out more about KAWC at kawc.org, on Facebook at KAWC Radio, or at the KAWC app. Stay tuned for the following program for KOFA Midday Music. And on our next program on Monday, let's see, I got to get it right in front of me real quick. We're going to have somebody. You're going to have to just figure it out because I can't get to it. But you can listen to our podcast of our version podcast on, or check out past episodes. Normally, Veronica reads this at kawc.org/podcast/What's Up Yuma Radio. I did it. I did it right time. Yeah.
What's Up Yuma is sponsored by High Tanks Brewing Company, serving up scratch-made food, craft beers, and experiences at 2 desert locations in Welton. More at hightanks.com.
Thanks for listening to KOFA Yuma, whether it is on the radio at 94.7 FM or 1320 AM, or on your smartphone with the KOFA app, or on your computer at kawc.org. We are glad you have chosen us.
Caballeros de Yuma presents Midnight at the Oasis, March 6th through the 8th at Desert Sun Stadium. Yuma's signature celebration of classic cars, the event features vintage and custom vehicles, live rock and roll concerts, food vendors, and family activities. Proceeds support local programs and scholarships. More at caballeros.org.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. A video